the stream and everything, so if you are watching post-race, just skip ahead a few and we'll get going as soon as we can. It's going to be a pretty tricky race for everyone tonight, being around Vietnam, so looking pretty interesting. It's a new circuit. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes and how people get on. I'm just going to send the stream around. And we'll get it in the Discord, and then we'll get going as soon as we can. Been a couple of issues getting things sorted, but the majority of it has gone relatively smoothly. Don't want to speak on behalf of everything, but for me, I just had to wait patiently and then going. But most people, it probably wasn't as easy as that. I'm just looking for where I put the whatchamacallit, the stream. Where can I put it? Do I just put it in general? I'll just put it in general. Yeah, I'll put it in general. I'll just tag everyone. That'll do. And then we'll go to... So if we have got a few people joining, just want to welcome you all. Hopefully we can get in. We're waiting for a few more people and we'll get going as soon as we can, ladies and gents. So if you are watching post race, you're more than welcome to skip in front and get, you know, and skip to the intro. You're more than welcome to. Not going to kill you for not giving me enough queue time, but haven't got a cup of tea, surprisingly enough. I probably should have gone and made a cup of tea before we started, but now I don't have any time, so I can't go make a cup of tea. Bit of an issue, but we'll ignore it. We'll ignore it. And I've got up to 3 people watching. Welcome everyone. Hope you enjoy the following stream and what's going to proceed and the good racing, fingers crossed, we have on show tonight. It is Vietnam, it will be tricky, but fingers crossed we can get some good stuff going. Got a comment, so I'll just check that out now. Denmark Johnson, I am having a brilliant day, thank you mate. Hope you are having equally as good one, and I hope we are all keeping our heads up in weird situations, it must be said, but everything hopefully getting back to normal pretty soon. So hope everyone is keeping safe and keeping well at home. Just need to wait for a couple more people. And it looks like we are getting underway, so we're just going to go with the 15 that we have got. So we're going to get started and underway. So hey there everyone, and welcome back to OBF1. We're here for round 3 at Vietnam, a circuit we haven't seen play host to a Formula 1 race in real life, and probably one that we won't see play host to a Formula 1 race in real life. Unfortunately, the Hanoi Street Circuit wasn't available to take place in 2020 due to COVID and the whole situation with that, and didn't decide to carry it over to 2021. So the proposed circuit back in 2018 didn't actually get to see the light of day, but Codemasters did give us the pleasure of having this amazing circuit on the Formula 1 game. Well, amazing is definitely one way to put it. 23 turns, 5.6 kilometers negotiated lap. Not too much data on it, considering it's never ran a Formula 1 race and has never really been massive in the in motor racing before. Vietnam's never really been too big on its motor racing. Hasn't really had a major circuit, unlike the likes of other Southern Asian countries such as Korea or India or Singapore, places like that, where they've got pretty good motorsport facilities, unlike Vietnam, which did try to modernise itself but couldn't quite get there with Formula 1, unfortunately. Maybe in the future, we'll never know. But we have got the round 3 underway. We've had 2 very good races beforehand. The last 2 Fridays have been taken up by some pretty good. Last week in Bahrain we had an astonishing race back there with, once again, very, very close times up and down the field. But we are here for Vietnam, a very, very tough circuit to get right. It's very similar to Monaco, just twice as fast around the lap. You've got the very long flat out section, you've got the roundabout section, you've got a lot of stuff going on. Someone's already retired, looking to start from the back. We got, I believe that's Ratho leading the pit lane. He'll be coming out first. We've also got 2 more people retiring from the session. Well, 1 more person retiring from the session, I should say. We've got the AlphaTauri heading out and already straight into the wall, so that is less than ideal of a way to start his qualifying session. No carbon fibre heading off the front of that AlphaTauri just yet, so it looks like he is in the clear. A very tough circuit and not one you often see on many league racing calendars, so definitely going to be a new time for a lot of these league races. A lot of them not really been in leagues very often before anyway, so let alone acclimatising themselves to a circuit they've probably never driven on before. This could get very, very spicy. Through the roundabout section, you want to get a really good exit and really straight line that, so you can get such a good launch off this exit. If you don't get the initial momentum, you are going to struggle, because half of it, literally this entire thing, you're in excess of probably around about 190, 200 miles an hour all the way up to the braking zone right in front of us, as we can see. Probably one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit, down the gears, and you need to set up a good-ish exit. Not most important, you want to run a tighter line and come out all the way over here. As you can see the AlphaTauri doing, bring it over to the left hand side, straight on the braking, and get it done as best as you can. And then through the trickier section, flat if you are brave, and then a couple of lifts. You want to get close to that inside curve as you can and just give it everything. Ratho though, on his outlap, trying to acclimatise himself and get him where the grip is and try and feel the setup a little bit through the last couple of corners of turn 22 and 23. There's a lot of corners, but he's going to set up his hot lap now. DRS wide open as he comes across the line to start it. Let's see what he can do. Coming into turn 1, want to look out for the 100 board once again, as with most circuits. Goes a little bit deep, very deep in fact. That's not going to give him the best runs through turn 2, where you've really got to be committed and really wrestle the car through and then coming through turn 3 into 4, got to use that curb to hook the car around and straight line this a little bit more. DRS wide open as always, the drag reduction system giving him the extra 20 kph down this back straight, where you can see he does go purple to the first sector, but let's see if anyone else can topple it. His teammate behind of KVDPR has gone even quicker than his teammate and gone purple to the first sector. What's the McLaren done? He hasn't gone purple. He's got a bit of a lock up into the roundabout section, certainly less than ideal, but let's see what Ratho can do down this massive flat out section. Gives the drivers a little bit of a breather. They can take their hands off the wheel, grab a drink, whatever it might be. And then on the exit of the hairpin, purple to the middle sector goes Ratho, but what can his teammate do? We're only a little bit into this qualifying session, still a lot of people to set laps. No, we've got Max, we have got Max, he is very incredibly quick, and so is Harv. A lot of these guys are extremely quick, so hopefully. I haven't really done much around Vietnam in this game, but a 36.5, decent benchmark time. His teammate does topple him though, goes 36.2, and Choco very close with a 36.2 as well, separated by only a 100th of a second. That is incredibly close between those two. Choc, or well, I should say Kieran, as he did request it too, but KVDPR has been disqualified from the session for blocking the pit lane. So he stopped on track to allow someone through and been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. So out of the session is the provisional pole sitter, and Max smashes their times out of the gates with a 34.9, already top of the session, already setting the benchmark and doing an incredible job of that. In the 32 numbered Haas car, he's been light of the show during qualifying, as well as Kimi. These two really battling it out hard, setting the benchmark times, really giving it to each other in the race as well, and the Haas setting it her light as of yet. But Kimi is on a lap, he is looking good. So through turn 2 and 3, the roundabout section, or well, the first roundabout section really does loop back on itself. He's got DRS wide open. We'll see what he does to the first sector. Did look pretty tidy, but tidy is not always the quickest as he crosses the sector line. It is purple to the first sector, 25.9, the first man into the 25s as he enters the roundabout section through the first chicane, and you want to keep it wide, bit of a Tokyo drift, use the power to turn and really aggressive with the throttle to get the back end to bite and get the front end to point where you want it to go. It set up a good exit onto this back straight, which is going to be crucial as he comes in excess of 200 miles an hour, and then with DRS open really soaring up towards 210, really the max speed of these Formula 1 cars, and down the gears as quick as he can. Got to use that and turn in and encourage the understeer to run a tight exit coming out. Bit shaky on the exit, so not been the cleanest lap coming off the hairpin, but still looking pretty quick for Kimi as he goes 1 minute 6.7 to the middle sector. Isn't purple, so we'll have to see how close he is to Max in the Haas in front. I'd say if he can get within the 34s, that'll be a very good time, but a low 35 definitely isn't too bad either. In the Ferrari then through the final sector, just got to give it everything, full commitment through the fast corners, and into here you just got to try not to lock up too much, because that is crucial to not lock up. Through the final corner then another one where you have to just chuck it in and hope. Across the line, a low 35 as I predicted, a 35.198 for Kimi Mats as he crosses the line, and that is a pretty good benchmark. He just needs to slowly improve upon that as the session goes on. So a few more people setting a time. We've seen the slowest of which being Peter with a 38.8. So into this middle sector, or to start the final sector through the S's, is Chris on a good lap. We've seen him put some good stuff out before in the Williams, and he's really been up there in the races as well. We'll just have to see what he can do. Again, got to give it everything, use these curves. Don't turn in too early, but don't turn in too late. Don't want to wash out. Got to bit sideways through the penultimate corner, really going to discourage his momentum as he exits the final corner. It's not going to be the best time. Only P4, 36.3, and very close to Chalk in front, who is in P3 and a very, very good benchmark time. But the front two, almost a second clear, as you can see. And, well, over a second clear are the front two. So no one really giving him much of a challenge. It looks as though there's going to be a fight for third place amongst the rest of the grid. And Max and Kimi to duel it out throughout the race. Could get spicy, could get interesting. So we've got the Hassman on an outlap. Looking to keep the tyres fresh. Everyone opting for the soft compound strategy. So it looks as though that is pretty unanimous across the grid. And the ultimate strategy not taking too much provenance across the field. It looks as though everyone on an equal playing field going for the softs. I'd guess to maybe some mediums and then mediums again, or soft to hard. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not too experienced with Vietnam at all, and as I say, I'm not too experienced in the League Racing League as I used to be, so really been quite out the loop, especially at Vietnam. But probably one of my first times actually commentating on a race here at Vietnam, Hanoi. But nonetheless, we got Max setting up a hot lap once again, his second run of the session. 8 minutes left to go. He'll probably get one more run after this one as he crosses the line for the second time. Let's see what he can do in excess of 190 miles an hour as he comes into turn one. Really got to use the track, maximise the track as much as you can, especially through these tight corners. Mount that curb on the inside, gets the car bitten through wide as you can, open up the steering, use up all the track, then bite it through and get a straight line exit as much as you can as you come onto this back straight, not wanting to touch that wall on the inside. We've got Sebo right behind him, trying to get the toe, or at least a little bit of one, and that he can hope, but he does go 3/10 up to the first sector. That is purple as stands, but so is Kimi. He's in a wall. He's having a bit of a nightmare and wanting to turn around and getting into the pit lane. That might serve a few issues, and he might get disqualified. I don't know. Yeah, he's been disqualified. So Kimi out of the session. Yeah, okay. We'll stay on board with Max as he's coming through down towards the hairpin. Kimi disqualified from the session. Going to have to start right at the back of the grid amongst KVDPR behind. So Max pretty much setting sail to take pole position, but going to be interested to see how Kimi can negotiate the traffic and find his way through the field. 5/10 up, nearly 6/10 is Max, up on his previous time, so looking good maybe for a low 33 on his final run if he can still improve. Well, I say a low 33, probably a high 33 is more realistic, chucking it through the gears and really giving it everything. He's got Preston Mixer right in front of him, giving him a little bit of dirty air, but hopefully will move out the way. No, he's not going to move out the way, and a bit of a lock-up from Max, who's been really much held up by the Red Bull there, but shouldn't pose too much of a threat. Let's see how much time he's lost because of that across the line. He did lose quite a lot of time, still managed to improve by over 6/10 and down to a 34.2 as High Assassin has retired from the session. It looks as though in the S section. So very good time for Max. CDM only a second back with a 35.2, sort of the middle ground. We've got a second from first to second and then another second from second to third. And it's close with 36.2, 36.3, 36.5 and then back to the 37, which is still pretty close between those guys. So very much mixed pace margins between everyone. It looks as though they're travelling in pairs of two. Or, well, not even pairs of two. It looks like Max is in a league of his own. CDM sort of in no man's land. But everyone else sort of travelling in packs of two. You've got the McLaren and the Williams together. You've then got the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull sort of together. Well, you've got these three actually. Chalk, Chris and Ratho in the group of three. Then you've got these two. And then you've got these two at the back. And then Jim Straff still yet to set a lap time. So who is out on circuit, welcome to the stream everyone. Hope you are enjoying this qualifying coverage. We'll get to the race as soon as we can. Well, in about 5 minutes 20 precisely, once all the action has sorted itself out. Here's Kieran, Chock on Mai, coming across the line, looking to set up a good hot lap. And coming down into turn 1, he's braking pretty early. Is this a flying lap? Doesn't look to be one. He's not going as quick as... So it looks as though he's going for a second installation lap on these 2-lap-old soft compound tyres. Or that was his flying lap as he crossed the line and wanted to go a little bit slowly. Believe that was the case, as he has improved to a 35.4, so looking a lot closer between himself and CDM. So this could be a nice little fight for second place. Hope the founder has a good race. Well, hopefully it would help if the founder of the league has a good race in his own league. That would, you know, probably be a little bit more efficient. But Chock on Mai and CDM both very close in the Renault and the McLaren, two cars that were very close in real life in 2020 and hopefully in 2021. Chock on Mai probably on the installation lap. He's coming in for the in lap, and then we've got Jim Strav looking to set his first lap time of the session, coming out of the turn 1, 2, 3 and 4 complex and down this back straight. And so crucial for him, Max on another lap. He's confident he can go faster, probably doesn't need to. Doesn't look as though CDM or Chock is going to get anywhere near the times of that Haas, and another dominant win probably for the man who currently sits provisional pole. Fingers crossed there's no misunderstanding. It would help if everyone gave each other space, and fingers crossed it's going to be a good race, because well, at least we can hope. Everyone does seem to give each other enough space, but it is a street circuit, and we all know what the street circuits mean in Formula 1. So Max on an out lap now. We've also got Jim Strav and everyone, quite a few people actually. CDM going for an out lap. Let's see if he can get closer to Max in front. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, and good luck to you for the race. P6 so far, definitely good. Probably want to get out there and improve on your time with a fresher set of softs, because 3-lap-old softs definitely probably not going to be what you want to do. Yeah, you need to get on some fresher tyres. That would be my advice. But Max through turn 1, 2, he's got Peter in his way. His teammate moving out the way very nicely as he comes onto this back straight. Let's see if he's improved to the first sector. His previous lap was incredibly good on the, well, his second lap. And he is just a little bit slower, but not by much, and he can definitely gain that up as he goes full send into this middle chicane. Really sending it under brakes to get the car turned in. Bit of a lock-up, but just goes to show he's on the limit and not giving an inch in this qualifying session, which is what you love to see from the drivers. This is probably his final run. Let's see what the pole time is going to be, because there's no doubt in my mind this man is going to be the one sitting on the front row unless some miracle happens further back or he gets disqualified, which I wouldn't put it past this session. So far down the gears, coming towards this very heavy braking zone of the hairpin. You've got to run a nice tight line coming out and use the track, really maximise the straight line exit you can as he ends sector 2. Is he up on his time? Yes, he is, just by over half a tenth of a second, really giving it everything. He lost a little bit of time in the final sector on the previous lap. Let's see if he can make it back as he chucks it through, really giving it everything. Down the gears twice and then down the gears a second time just to get the car to bite in, and then a bit of a lift again for the third S, and then coming into the penultimate corner where he lost a bit of time, got to bite it in. He's out of the energy recovery system to gain him that little bit more pull coming onto the back straight, but really got to chuck it in. Is it going to be a 33? Yes, it is a 33. 4.8, 4 tenths in that final sector. Incredible lap. But CDM also a tenth and a half up on his time. He's on a good lap. Let's see if he can hold off from Chock, who doesn't look to be going out on another lap, unfortunately, as his teammate is still yet to set a lap. Jim Strav doesn't look as though he's going to be the one to give us anything. He didn't set a lap all session, so he's not going to be the one up there, unfortunately. Please tell Pete to come back to SRGL. We miss him. Well, he's doing a good job coming. Working on this league as of yet. Powerful to the middle sector goes CDM. Very good middle sector. Then it must have been said. Mostly a straight line, but we'll ignore that fact. But CDM probably got a bit phased by his middle sector time and has really bottled this final sector. Hopefully he can improve enough to maybe hang on from Chris, who isn't too far back, about a second and a bit. Maybe if he can make up a bit of time. Not being the closest qualifying as CDM chucks it in to the final corner and across the line. It is an improvement, 34.8, so now within a second of Max, and that is qualifying drawn to a close. Kimmy, he is very quick. He was the one giving it to Max, and it would have been a good dash for pole position if they'd have stayed in the session, but we'll just have to wait and see what he can do in the race. So Chris, the final man to cross the line, we'll be waiting for him, and then we can go towards the to the race. Did Chris manage to improve? It doesn't look as though he did. Pete up into P4 as well. So just waiting for his car to get back to the pit lane, and we'll go to the starting grid. Hope everyone is enjoying so far. Yeah, Kibby didn't have the best of runs trying to get back into the pit lane, and thought he could get away with going backwards, but didn't quite manage it, unfortunately. And we're still waiting for it. Brake Gorilla's back in. We've got 4 AI drivers in the session as well, and Wumax has joined, so they're going to take over their cars. I believe that's what it means. So they've joined at the end of qualifying. They're going to take over the cars. And going to give us a nice little extra couple of cars on the grid. Mitch GK has also joined. He's out on track. Not entirely sure how this is working, considering qualifying is over. Yeah, Chalk doing a very good job. Mitch GK on a lap, but it is the end of qualifying, so let's see if he can. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, to be honest. Is the lobby glitched or what? I'm not entirely sure. Mitch is setting up a hot lap. Let's see if he can go quickest. Mitch is setting up a hot lap, so the game hasn't loaded him out yet. But it looks as though qualifying is finally over, so it looks as though Max is going to be taking a dominant pole position, nearly a second clear of CDM, who'll be joining him on the front row ahead of Chalk in P3. Pete rounding off the second row with Chris in P5, Pressing Mixer P6, Ratho P7, Sebo P8, Golden Wolf P9 and High Assassin rounding out the top 10. Mitch GK will come home in P11, Half P12, Jimstraff P13, Broke Gorilla 14th, Kimmy in P15 and KVDPR rounding off the grid in P16. But it is looking doom and gloom, hopefully dry and sunny skies towards the end of the race, and it won't be affected by any rain. But just waiting for everyone to load in and get their setups on. You can see them all waiting anxiously on the grid, looking up at the clouds, hoping that the grey won't turn to blue and we will have a dry race throughout, because, well, Vietnam's hard enough as it is, let alone with some rain sprinkled in on top. But we are going to go green for the formation lap. Which is headed by Max, who needs ideally to just get a good start, get his head down and go. Which would definitely help his bid. He's got the pace, certainly has proved he's got the pace. Now joined by a couple more drivers down towards Wumax and P17. So got a bit more drivers in on the action for the race. And we'll have a little look at the tyre situation. Half and half in terms of strategy. The top 10 all on the softs. The top, well, from that all the way down to P11 on the mediums. Everyone on fresh tyres, it seems. So it looks as though everyone's been given free choice of tyre. You can see everyone weaving around, just trying to get their temperature into the tyres. Predicted pit stop strategy there, medium soft or hard soft. F1 Insights powered, of course, by AWS. So giving us a little bit of an insight. So those on the mediums probably not in the most ideal strategy, but we'll have to wait and see if there's a full course yellow or something of the sort. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Never say never when it comes to motor racing. Anything can happen. Broke Gorilla on the lone hard compound strategy down in P14, so it is looking interesting as Max rounds the final sector, looking to get underway in racing here in Vietnam. It is looking good, it's looking pretty spicy for everyone. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. 28 laps of racing, behold us as he rounds the penultimate corner and looking to line himself back up onto the grid Max with the pace, CDM with the hunger, Peter with also the hunger to get on the podium in P4. We've got Kimi back down there in P15 looking to redeem himself for a pretty dismal qualifying session. He wants to get up there and score some good points. We're in for a treat of a race. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen at home. We're not going to be disappointed when it comes to Vietnam. The first race I've commentated around Hanoi, and the third round of the championship is about to get underway. We're just waiting for Womax in the Red Bull to round the final corner, and we'll get the green flag shown. Here he is, just going to be warming up his tyres, making sure everyone else is nice and cold so he can get off to the optimal start. But 5 red lights behold us ahead of the OBF1 Vietnamese Grand Prix. We've got a green flag shown, and we're going to go to the 5 red lights. Waiting for the 5 red lights, or at least we're hoping to see the 5 red lights very soon. There we go. To 5 red lights. This is it, and we're underway and racing, and that's a great start from pole position for Max. He's already ahead and coming into turn 1. He's going to have to hold that, but there goes Peter up the inside of the Williams. Everyone trying to funnel their way through. We've got a timing glitch, so I can't quite see what's going on, but everyone trying to file their way through turn 1. We've got Harv looking eager. We've got Chris looking eager to try and dart up the inside. Chock and High Assassin going side by side. It looks as though the McLaren is going to claim that position, but Pete up into P4, and there's High Assassin trying to get past. There's a bit of carbon fibre flying everywhere. We've got High Assassin on the back of the McLaren in front of him. Can he get through? This is going to be Chris looking to get past High Assassin as well. Can he dart to the inside? Looks, but thinks better of it. Nobody's going to go for the move, but High Assassin gives him the room. There's the Red Bull trying to dart up the inside. Preston Mixer trying to dart up the inside of Mitch, who's up a couple of places. I can't quite see what's going on. Who's that round? Is that Peter round? Yes, it is. Coming off the roundabout section. He's going to pull back onto the track. Big calamity off the start of this race, and he's made in contact with the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo of Broke Gorilla, and we've got a VSC, a virtual safety car, out on track already, and we haven't even made it past the first couple of corners and onto this back straight of the first lap, and we're already confronted by a VSC. Very, very hectic start. Everyone trying to get their way through, but it didn't seem like we could get through very orderly. It looks like as though Codemasters didn't want us to with the glitch, but we move. We definitely do move. CDM trying to stay with Max. 9 tenths is the gap, I should say, as we go green once again, but the battle probably is more for Mitch as he's trying to close up onto the back of 5th and 4th. Chris on the back of High Assassin as well, who finds himself up into P4 in the Mercedes, but Chris on the softs and in the Williams is going to be wanting to get past and get in to the top 4, but Mitch is going to be looking to make the most of either of them. He's very close. Blue flags being shown already. Not sure how accurate that is, but High Assassin really a mobile chicane in the way of Chris. Back into the Ferrari of Mitch. He goes very slow off the final corner. This is going to be Chris's triumphant move to the inside to get up into the top 4, and is Mitch going to follow him through? Yes, he is. Darts to the inside. Bit of contact between the two as they go side by side, but there's Chris very deep. He's going to lose both positions back, and Mitch up towards the front. He's going to dart to the inside of the Mercedes as well. Keep it tight to the inside through turn 2. Very nicely done from the Ferrari man to get up into the top 4. We've got another timing glitch, unfortunately. High Assassin under pressure from Pressing Mixer and the Williams, who both going to try and fire their way through. There's Chris up into the top 5, and here's the Red Bull trying to go around the outside. He's not going to get the room he deserves though, and there goes the Mercedes darting up the inside. A similar move that Mitch did to him. The Williams going to give him the room and set up the cutback, use the slipstream down this back straight. High Assassin not being given the run he'd have liked. He's going to give that position back pretty easily and pretty much for free, it must be said, to Chris, who's going to be flying past him. But will the Mercedes have the slipstream? Here comes Preston Mixer with some astonishing straight line speed to dart in front of the Mercedes, and Ratho looking to get through as well, but the Mercedes going to dart to the inside once again. Everyone trying to file their way through. Chris has gone in very, very deep and going to lose the position back to High Assassin, who's already back up into the top 6, and Ratho making the most of it as well. The Mercedes really, really a mobile chicane, but Ratho goes in very deep, makes contact with Chris, who's going side by side with High Assassin. Very, very close to disaster, and we've got a full course yellow because of debris, and the Mercedes bouncing off the walls there and darting back up the inside of Ratho again to keep the position. Very questionable driving we've got on show for us today. And Pete being given a drive-through penalty as he's retired from the session, and probably rightly so. I wouldn't want to give up I wouldn't want to continue after my race has been ruined like that. But a full course yellow and a lot of people piling into the pit lane for repairs. Kimi unable to make up positions down in P16, and everyone having to just sort of fire their way through. You can see the safety car picking up the leader and the man in second place of CDM, who is still there, and so is Chock in P3. High Assassin has left the session, so given up on that one. So the first 3 laps done and dusted, well, about a tenth of the way through the race. And already a safety car being brought out, which is very unfortunate and not something you'd like to see in OBF1. But it is going to condense the field back down after the calamity. So the Haas behind the safety car now. Not much to really talk about as Ratho decides to come into the pits this lap. He's going to lose out big time as all those cars are going to go past him, but he needs to for the fresh wing. He's going to come in, he's going to strap on a new front wing. And the yellow stripe medium compound tyres won't be at all towards the end of the race, but hoping to condense it down to only one more stop left, and he'll join at the back of the safety car queue. But he needs to get a move on. Does Golden Wolf as well. He needs to get a move on. So does Broke Gorilla. They all need to start hustling because they're all coming towards the chicane and they're only coming through turn 1. They need to get a move on, otherwise they're going to be dropped behind. So the drivers yet to pit are the top 7. Everyone else has pit, so it looks as though the top 7 got away unscathed just about. So Max currently leading the way ahead of CDM and Chock. Looks like those 3 sort of staying station. Mitch already up to P4, Harv up to P5, KVDPR with some astonishing pace up to P6. Let's see what he can do for the rest of the race. Jim Strav as well up to 7th. Looking spicy. Everyone else still needing to pit though, so the top 7 could be at a disadvantage. We'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. These early safety cars always bring about chaos amongst the midfield and at the front. Do you pit? Do you get it out the way? So it's still under safety car and it is going to stay out another lap, so we've got another moment or so to breathe. So a position change further back. It looks as though people are racing under full course yellows. The Red Bull darting up the inside of the Renault and still showing his nose to the inside. Hopefully they don't make contact, because that'll be a 5-second time penalty for the both of them. hopefully we can get underway and racing soon, because we are past the 5 lap mark and we've only had 2 laps of green flag racing, and I want to see a bit of a battle going on. Don't want to fall asleep and don't want you guys at home to fall asleep. It would be less than ideal. So go and grab yourselves a cup of tea before we go back under green flag racing. So is the safety car in this lap? Finally, we have got a nice little grid going on, so hopefully the safety car is going to peel into the pit lane. Is it? Yes, it is. So we are back under green flag racing this lap. So Max is the effective safety car. He controls the pace up into the timing line. CDM close behind, looking to go off. Good up. He has punched it, and we're green and underway and racing on lap 5 of 28. Coming on to lap 6, here's Mitch on the back of Choco and everyone else trying to negotiate their way through one pretty simply. It looks as though no one's going to challenge too much, but Mitch on the back of Choco and looking eager to get himself up into the top 3. Those medium tyres going to be feeling a lot better than the softs in front, but Harv also very quick. HDVPR also very quick. Choco with a big snap of oversteer. There goes Mitch around the outside, keeps it pinned as close as he likes to the wall, and the Racing Point going to follow him through. Harv needing to make this move stick so he can chase after Mitch, and he's got the ERS open. Is Mitch going to defend to the inside? Yes, he is. There goes Harv to the outside. Can he stick it? No. The Ferrari going to close the gap and claim the outside, but the Racing Point with a great cutback, bit of contact with the back of the Ferrari, and doesn't opt to send it to the inside of the roundabout section, but he's got this long straight of tarmac to get this move done, and of course a heavy braking zone to make sure he can get it done. So he's got the slipstream, he'll have the ERS, but is it going to be enough? He's not closing as much as he'd perhaps like, and without the aid of DRS until lap 9 or so, he won't be able to get the move done. And the McLaren looking eager to find his way through as well. And they've also got the AlphaTauri looking pretty feisty in the mirrors as well, but Harv on the back of Mitch. These two medium runners battling it out for the podium places. The Ferrari versus the Racing Point, two teams that had a bit of a feud in 2020. They're battling it out here in Hanoi for OBF1. Mitch a bit shaky coming into the S's, but not much Harv can do as he is really trying to get onto the back of the Ferrari, but Mitch goes in a bit deep. Harv doesn't carry the momentum that he would have liked. As we come through the final set of corners, Mitch a lot more committed, as you can see, really pinning the car onto these apexes and carrying the minimum speed through the corners, but he goes a bit deep into the penultimate corner. That's not going to give him the best run. Harv's having a little look, but can't make any much more sense of it than a little bit of a look. Max setting the fastest lap, of course, as he goes green once again and really commanding this race up in front. 2 seconds clear of CDM, who's 3.5 seconds clear of Mitch in P3. These guys really fighting it out. Is Harv going to have a look down towards the chicane, maybe even to turn 2? Bit far back for turn 2 on this particular occasion, but through onto this back straight. He's going to have the slipstream, just needs to keep it out the wall. He had a bit of a poor exit, so that's not going to help his case at all, but he is close and he is closing, and he's got the pace to stay with the Ferrari. Looks to the inside, darts back to the inside, doesn't want to send it on this particular occasion. Going to think better of it and wait for the long back straight where he can probably make the most of the Racing Point's Mercedes engine, but doesn't get the best of exits, doesn't straight line it as much as he'd have liked, so he's going to have to use his ERS to build up that momentum back up, and probably to wait until next lap to get the DRS advantage and soar past the Ferrari on the straight. Everyone else sort of keeping it single file. Kimi making up some moves as well. The Ferrari looking to get past the Williams, who's going to dart to the inside to defend, but the Ferrari going to go even deeper and claim the inside, bring it back over to the right hand side to open up the corner. Up the inside, is the Williams going to fight it? Bit pointless, and there's Kimi up into the top 8. Very nicely done from the man in the Ferrari, and the man on a charge for the front runners. Harv losing a little bit of ground to Mitch through that sector, and he's not going to have the DRS unless he can keep it pinned through this final sector, which is exactly what he has done. He's kept it committed like Mitch did the previous lap, and he's done a very good job of keeping on the back. He just needs to stay with DRS as we come on to the third lap after the restart. Mitch again goes in very deep. DRS once again enabled as Max sets the pace up in front, pressing Mixer, getting himself past KVDPR, the Red Bull, on a charge on the soft compound tyre. DRS enabled, and Harv having to wait until the detection point, but he is looking good to keep the DRS. And in DRS, is it going to be enough towards the first chicane? It doesn't look as though he's going to want to go for it. He's going to wait for the next chicane. Chalky as well, just languishing outside the DRS range, unfortunately. Closing his half, but isn't enough to get right onto the back of Mitch. You can see how much he closes on corner entry, but Mitch really pulling the gap on corner exit. And that is where he needs to be quick. You can see launching off that corner there. But is the DRS down this back straight going to be enough for Harv to capitalise? The drag reduction system going to give him an extra 20 kph or so compared to Mitch in front. Pair that with the DRS, he's going to have a lot of closing speed. It's only about 6 miles an hour though, and he's not closing enough, so he's going to have to sit behind once again. Unfortunately, KVDPR and Kimi having a bit of a tussle, and the Williams looking to get involved, doesn't know where to go. There's Kimi up the inside, and the Williams looking to follow him through. Has a little look, but KVDPR sideways on power, and that's going to allow the Williams through, and back up into the top 8 goes Chris, and KVDPR going to be under pressure from the Renault now with that newfound damage, unfortunately, on his car. But Kimi got the move done, and he's soared away and up into the top 7. So great redemption drive for the man in the Ferrari, who's now picked up a bit of wing damage. Maybe had a bit of a graze with the wall, and it does happen. Looks as though Mitch has managed to pull a bit of a gap, but Harv going to gain it all back with DRS. And through turn 1, 2, I guess it's 3 and 4 this next couple of bits, but Mitch really keeping it consistent. There's going to be another safety car as Broke Gorilla has retired from this session, but I'm not sure where he's retired. Is it on the exit of the final corner? It looks as though he has just binned it in the wall. We won't get to see because Jim's driver's coming into the pits, but that is the second safety car, and we're only on lap 9, only a third of the way through the race. Is this going to trigger any pit stops? And if so, who? I'm sure Max CDM would love to benefit off this. Mitch and Harv may be going to benefit off this as well. Maybe on the mediums because there's rain forecasted. Who knows, they might stay out. But they've got the gap to probably not lose too many positions. So back under safety car conditions, unfortunately. Golden Wolf given a drive-through penalty for speeding under safety car, but so far been a pretty hectic Grand Prix. And into the pits goes Mitch, but Harv is going to stay out, and Mitch being given a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. What's happened here then? Why has Mitch sped under safety car? Golden Wolf given another drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, but Harv going to stay out and take the effective race lead. Is he holding out for something more? Is there something we don't know? CDM to the hards to the end of the race. Pretty sure they'll be comfortable. Mitch to the softs and Max to the mediums. So the top 3 all on a split strategy. Drive-through penalty well in P5. Behind the safety car as we go green again. Hopefully go green pretty quickly as we wait for some people to file out the pit lane. And they're back going to be bunched up once again. So under the full safety car conditions, just a bit of a debrief if you are joining us late. Harv takes the lead after not pitting under the safety car, so those mediums going to be a bit worn. Max, the man on a mission, the dominant figure in this race, the man with the pace, coming in onto the pit for mediums and stays out in a P2 position. CDM on the hards, and Mitch, a man who was in P3 in the Ferrari, dropped back to P5 after serving needs to serve a drive-through penalty, so going to be on the soft tyres to try and recover from that. And Ratho up into P4 after staying out after his first pit stop during the first safety car. So it looks as though we're going to get one more lap of safety car, but looks as though I believe that is going to be the Alfa Romeo of Golden Wolf and Jim Strav going to be lining up behind us very soon, so should be in by the end of this race. Hopefully back under green flag racing on this lap. Everyone seems to be close enough together for the safety car to pull in on lap 11 of 28, approaching the halfway mark. And safety car is in this lap. We've been given the prompt by race control. So Harv going to become the effective safety car. Controls the pace, lets the safety car in front get to the pit lane before he obviously punches it. Is there something Harv is sticking out for? He hasn't pitted under both safety cars. He stayed out the entire stint. Is he waiting for something that we don't know about? That could be a possible factor. Max is going to want to get through. This could be detrimental to his race, whether he gets through quickly or not. Harv going to control the field on his way. Ratho into the pits, and then we go green once again as he has punched it. Max hasn't responded too well. He's going to lose a bit of time, and we go green once again. Harv leads the way ahead of Max and CDM with Mitch close behind, but he's going to dart to the inside. Big send from the Ferrari on the Renault on the soft compound tyre. Gets the move done, but don't forget, he has got a drive-through penalty to serve, so he's going to be on a mission to try and gain up as much time as he possibly can. Maybe give Max a bit of a headache coming towards turn 5 and 6 before the roundabout. Let's see what he can do. He's using his ERS. He wants to have a bit of a fight. Chris falling behind Sebo and Kimi all over the back of him as well. Kimi on a charge, he's on the mediums, and he's going to go to the inside of the Williams. Can he get it move done into the chicane? The Williams going to fight it hard around the outside, but the Ferrari going to take the track away, and KVDPR looking to pounce as well, looking to get around the outside. Is he going to get it done? Chris going to hold his line to the inside. Back up the front though, Mitch on the back of Max on the back of Harv, looking to get himself back up into the lead of the race where he deserves to be. Harv sort of a mobile chicane as it stands, still hasn't pit, maybe waiting for an outside source, goes very deep into the hairpin. That's not going to be optimal for him. Max very sideways coming off it and really pushing to find a way through, but can't quite find a way through, as is the case with the streets of Hanoi. It is very difficult to get your way through, especially through this tough S section. Needs to wait for the DRS, preferably. Mitch losing a bit of time because he can't quite get the car to turn in with the dirty air, and Harv controlling it as it stands. Max not able to get close enough, but very deep. Oh, that's contact between Mitch and Max. Luckily Max has managed to keep it rolling, but Mitch is going to be left with a lot of damage. Luckily for Max, he managed to keep it rolling and didn't get too caught up by getting hit smack bang in the middle of his car. That's probably his saving grace, that he didn't lose that time because of it. But he goes deep into the turn 2, has to use the runoff area and cut across. So it looks as though the pressure's getting to him. He needs to get past Harv, but Harv isn't giving it up easily. And Max, so used to just soaring off into the distance, probably isn't used to being around so many other cars. He's probably panicking right now, but he's making good course of it. Coming into the chicane, he's still got Mitch close behind, and CDM even closer. And there's Max really pushing Harv through the roundabout section, needing to set up a good exit. He's got a straighter exit than Harv, bit sideways as he is eager on the power to get the ERS down. And he's got the slipstream, he's closing, but is it going to be enough by the end of the straight? He's going to pull to the inside, but it's going to be the outside. He doesn't really know where to go. He darts to the inside once again, and this is going to be the inside for the braking zone. Soars around the outside, but it's going to be the inside as they go under braking. The racing point on the outside for the race lead, going to squeeze him out of room, and that is Max back into the lead of the race, and Harv stuck and into P2, still yet to pit, and Mitch still yet to bring out and serve his drive-through penalty. So still waiting for Mitch to pull into the pit lane. Probably got an extra lap or so to serve it. Is he going to come into the pits? Yes, he is. Let's hope he doesn't get a speeding penalty. That would be less than ideal. I'm going to have to serve a drive-through. And DRS enabled once again. Let's see if Harv can stay with Max. Maybe if he can stay within the DRS, he might have a chance of a counter-attack. Who knows, but it looks as though Max is going to be very quick, pulling out of the 1 second gap. Ratho has left the session. But Harv just going to manage to stay within DRS range. Is it going to be enough to stay with him enough through this chicane? That's what he needs to do, and then pick it up down the back straight. This could be close. If Harv can just commit through the chicane, he might have it back, as Max is very, very committed to try and break the DRS range. It looks as though he's done it, but if Harv can set up a good exit, and Max a bit shaky, he has got the drive, but is it enough? It doesn't look like it is. So Max managing to get away scot-free on this one. We've got Choc and CDM looking to go side by side. Choc in the DRS. He's going to have the ERS deployment as well. He won't even need it though. He's all over the back. Pulls to the inside well before the DRS detection point. And it should be a pretty clean plain sailing move. CDM tries to fight it, but on the hard tyres won't pose much of a threat unless Choc goes in a bit too deep. Nope. Jim Strav on the back of KVDPR as well on the mediums versus the softs. Just needs to hope he doesn't break it too late as to go into the back. Bit of contact between the two. That is going to slice a bit of front wing off the Alpha Tower as he barges his way through. Really doesn't give much for KVDPR on the exit as Mitch comes out right amongst this fight. Just ahead of Chris, who's now bustled his way back through. But KVDPR eager to get the car stopped. He didn't get to the car stopped, and he's really much nearly taken Mitch out. KVDPR very desperate to launch it up the inside. Not the cleanest display of driving, and he's going to retire on track out of the session, and probably for the best to probably save any form of reputation he's got after that one. Halfway through the race now, Jim Strav and Mitch very close together. Mitch managing to recover well from that little incident. Luckily no full course yellow brought out again because of it. The closest battle on track between Mitch and Jim. Jim not getting the best of exits, neither does Mitch, though he may have a bit of damage. He does have a bit of damage to the front left end plate of his Ferrari, so that's not going to be posing too ideal for him. And onto the back straight he will have DRS and of course less drag because of the aerodynamic component, but Jim Strav just appears to have let him through. Maybe to get the DRS, but it is going to work. It did work. He's going to get the DRS, but is it going to be enough? Was it a failed attempt at a little sneaky strategy? He's got the closing speed, but it doesn't look to be enough as they will be under braking very soon. They are under braking now. Ooh, so close under braking is Jim to Mitch, and it looks as though Jim is going to hang back on this particular occasion. Mitch out in front, and he's got his teammate just a position ahead of him, chasing after Press and Mixer. Kimi certainly on a charge. And KVDPR apologising for his actions before retiring in the Discord, so I have to give him respect for that. At least he recognised where he went wrong. Coming through the final corner is Kimi then. 6/10 back on the man in P5. He's going to want to get himself into the top 5 because his qualifying pace showed he had the pace for it, but got disqualified unfortunately as Press and Mixer goes in a little too deep. And DRS, is Kimi going to be able to get the move done? In slipstream, in DRS and DRS enabled, pulls to the inside, needs to be under braking. The Red Bull not going to fight that one too hard, but will have DRS down this long back straight. And CDM in front also struggling, so maybe these two should work together to get themselves up into the top 4 and Press and Mixer back into the top 5. He's not got a lot of DRS to play with. The energy recovery system, of course, giving him an extra around about 140 brake horsepower, and that is without the DRS. DRS giving him probably an extra 20 kVh on top of that, but Kimi's still pulling away with his pure straight line speed advantage and closing on CDM. He's going to get very close under braking. That is a theme we're seeing very often here in Hanoi. Very close under braking between Kimi and CDM, but manages to get away unscathed. Does the pair of them. Very nice avoiding action from the Ferrari, but still on the back of CDM and putting the pressure on. CDM certainly going to be looking in his mirrors, but a bit deep goes Kimi. Pressing Mixer still there to pick up the pieces if need be. And through the final sector, and CDM into the pit lane, surprisingly enough. Has he got some damage or something of the sort perhaps? But that's going to be Kimi and Pressing Mixer both up a free position. And into the top 4 for the Ferrari, and into the top 4 for the Red Bull, who's still languishing there. He's got the DRS, just needs to save a bit of ERS and get his way through. Through turn 2, the long right-hander of turn 3. Red Bull not looking close enough to get the move done, or even pose a threat to the Ferrari on this occasion, but is close and is closing. Taking a much tighter line, so the Ferrari initially closes in, but the Ferrari gaps on the exit, as you can see, and that is vital for the Ferrari. Maybe the Red Bull, if he was a little bit closer, could have darted to the inside and sent it to get the move done, force his way through that way. But overall, the wide line cutting in is better. The Red Bull got the DRS, but hasn't got the ERS to gain a little bit extra momentum compared to his rival in front, but it is just enough to keep him with him. So Kimi into the top 4, Pressing Mixer close behind. Through the S sections, Pressing Mixer really is still putting the pressure on. Kimi sawed his way through, but it wasn't a done deal there, and the Red Bull still putting the pressure on. Evenly-ish spread tyres, so the wear should be pretty equal at this stage in the race depending on setup. And Kimi, a very much aggressive driver, really chucking it through the corners, and as is Pressing Mixer. 10 laps to go, or well, 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We've got Chalk on the back of Half, who still is yet to pit. He's waiting very, very long to come into the pits, and it could be to his detriment. But Chalk on the back of Half, looking to get through. He's closing, but it isn't enough towards this first chicane. Half goes a little bit deep. Can Chalk get the cutback? He's on much fresher tyres than the man in front, but probably wants to play the patient game and doesn't want to rush things. He knows he's quicker, doesn't want to risk either of their races in one foul swoop, and to take them both out of the race would not be very ideal, but would see Kimi and Pressing Mixer both promoted to the podium, so it probably isn't all bad. But in the DRS and slipstream, has the McLaren got the overspeed? Half looking to the inside, doesn't really know where to go. Can Chalk brake late enough? No, he's playing very conservatively. Double front lock up to avoid the rear danger of that racing point. Bit sideways for the McLaren, not getting the drive he'd have liked off that hairpin. And down the gears, bit of a lock up on the inside front. Ratho on the back of Chris, who's on the back of Jim Strav in front. So we've got a nice little battle going on here for P7. There goes the Williams up the inside of the McLaren. Bit of contact between the two. Audacious send from the Williams to get it up the inside, but couldn't make the move stick as the McLaren was pretty much always on the apex, and Harv finally into the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop. Probably going to go from soft to the soft, from mediums to the soft, I should say. Apologies. Probably going to go to the soft. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very surprised, because if he's taken those mediums that long, he should probably be able to take the softs. But Chris struggling through this final sector, and Ratho really closing up on his soft compound tyre. A bit of contact as the closing speed was too great, wasn't expecting it, and through the final corner, got to chuck it in. And DRS enabled, but it isn't enough because the momentum off that final corner wasn't there, and Chris has got the DRS to defend with to Jim Strav in front, so his saving grace really is the DRS to the McLaren, and in fact he's putting the McLaren under pressure. Ratho falling off a little bit. There's Harv joining in front of the both of them, and on the fresh soft tyres he's going to be on a complete and utter madness to the inside of the roundabout, and will still have DRS of Jim Strav in front, so he's on a madness. He wants to come through and prove his pace, and he's going to be on some blistering lap times towards the end of the Grand Prix. He's saved up a bit of DRS as well, will have DRS, but so will the Williams. Will the Williams combat this once again? But Harv with the fresh tyres, he's closing on Jim Strav, looks to the inside, doesn't know where to go. The McLaren back to the front, there's contact in his round. Oh my god, massive crash for the Racing Point, and he's collected the McLaren with him. I'm not too sure what's happened there. Then there's contact again as CDM tries to get involved as Harv was rejoining the track. Luckily, no damage done to the front wing of that Racing Point. Somehow is still in this race. But a double move from Jim Strav saw a big collision between him and Harv. Not too entirely sure what happened there, and I'm sure the stewards will be taking a massive look at that one. But wow, Harv looked to go for the dummy, then committed to the outside as Jim was moving back, and I'm not sure he's going to be too pleased with that one. You can see Jim into the pit lane, got much worse off than Harv on that one, but through no fault of his own, Harv has been knocked out. And on a charge, he's 4 seconds off Chock and Mai, who's back into the pits and on the medium tyres. So again, going to have some great pace to the end of the race. But Harv going to be even much more on a charge. He's had some great pace, but he's got 4 seconds in front, and in 9 laps, that's going to be about half a second a lap on average. If he can do that, fair play to him, and he is closing, and he's closing fast. But Chock, Kieran on the back of Ratho and Chris. This is the fight for P5 now. Harv, CDM have all been knocked out of contention. He's got DRS. Is it going to be enough? The rear wing flap open in the AlphaTauri 2 with the drag reduction system. Probably a saving grace, but is slipstream enough? Here's Chokamai looking to the inside. He's going to brake as late as he can, but it isn't going to be enough and has to tuck back in. But Ratho goes a little bit too deep. Maybe gets swapped on the curb. Nope. Chokamai going to have to sit behind on Ratho, holding his nerve to defend this P6 position. A great position as it stands, but Max and Kimi both into the pit lane. So both coming in. And Ratho also into the pit lane. So Max coming in for a quick blistering soft stint and going to come out just ahead of pressing Mixer and retake the race lead. Kimi and Mitch both going to come in for some soft comp as well. So a big strategy mix up amongst the field. Harv still with the fastest lap and still setting some great pace with those soft compound tyres. Chock still on the back of Chris. 7/10 is the gap, and Chris's hard tyre is going to wear a little bit slower than the mediums, but he's already got 10 laps of wear in his pocket, and those hard tyres naturally slower than the mediums, and you can see the closing speed between himself and the McLaren. But Harv really has closed up. 4 seconds was the gap a lap previously, already down within a second, and Harv going to be looking to get past Chock, also going to be wanting to get himself into the top 4. with 8 laps of this race remaining. DRS going to be wide open, and the slipstream, the Williams left helpless to defend because the closing speed is too great. Dummies to the inside, finds the space, does the McLaren, and Hav with a front row seat to it all. There's the McLaren to the inside. Can the Williams leave him to drive around the outside? He does attempt it. He's left the room, grinds the curb a little bit, and they're still going to be side by side between the two, but Chris going to have to back out, and Hav going to be looking eager, goes to the inside, but contact between the two as Chock gets a bit of a lock-up. The Williams darts to the inside a little bit too late to defend, as Hav was going to be committed to the braking, and that is a big chunk of damage to the Racing Point. And again, Hav just not having his lucky stars in this race, it seems, and that is very unfortunate for the man who's been driving such a great race and had such blistering pace. But Chris left to struggle as well, maybe made a bit of contact with the back of Chris's car, or well, with Chock's car I should say, but here's Hav finally going to get the move done cleanly on the Williams and up the inside into Turn 1. The Williams shouldn't fight this too hard, probably just out of common courtesy, as he has ruined his race, it seems. And up into P5 goes Hav. No time penalties apart from Golden Wolf, so very nice to see everyone keeping it relatively clean, apart from the odd incident or two that Hav seems to be completely collected in through no fault of his own. And through this chicane, got to keep it consistent, and he still could have some good pace as long as he can tame the wing damage and hope that he doesn't rely on so much the mechanical downforce and more so on the tyre grip and the underlay, and not so much on aerodynamic grip. It would help. Jim Strav on the back of Wimax, diving to the inside of Turn 2 and lagging all over the place for good measure. Wimax, too sure where. But Chris doesn't have the best of pace. Harvey still closing on Chock with his tyre advantage, and Max setting some blistering place up in front. 36.2 in the race is incredible speed. The sky's starting to clear up, so no rain, it seems, in this very overcast doom and gloom session at Vietnam. Definitely been doom and gloom for Harvey in the Racing Point. You can see the understeer through the penultimate corner, visibly struggling, and a bit of a wall tap merely on the exit of the final corner as he lost 5/10 through that final sector alone. Has to make it up all through here and use his straight line speed and almost encourage the understeer. You can see turning in earlier in hopes that the car bites a little bit sooner, but it just isn't enough. He can't make that up with driving style. It's just a shame. Another wall tap to the inside front, not going to be doing his tyres or front wing any good, as he is on a bid to close up lap 23 of 28. And 6 laps remaining. Still had a pretty good race. There's been pretty good racing up and down the field. It's not been the most lackluster race, it must be said. Not the most exciting, not the most boring. It's sort of always one of those races that you often get sort of at Hungary and places like that. Not bangers, but not bore-fests either. So probably around about the 6 out of 10 mark. This race has been good. It's had its action, it's had its drama, but hasn't had that fight for the race lead, which you cannot knock Wax for. He's had unsatiable pace, unmatchable pace, and very dominant pace throughout today, and through qualifying a second clear nearly of his front row companion. And now 12 seconds clear of Prezi Mixer, who is next, and probably is going to take the gamble to not pit and hang on to P2, but he has got Kimi charging down in P3, who has quietly sort of just finessed his way up there. He's played it the strategical way and needs to close on Prezi Mixer, who's played an incredible strategy. Look at how many times he has stopped. He's made 2 stops compared to the leader, so he's sort of just used it well. Up 4 places, and Kimi up 12 as well. And he's going to nurse these tyres home to the end. But Kimi is going to be pushing. He wants that P2 more than anyone, and starting from the back of the grid will make it even that more sweet. Harv on the back of Choco now. This is the fight for P4. He's got DRS, he's got ERS, he's closing. Surely cannot be stopped. The McLaren to the inside. Quick reactions from the Racing Point to dart to the outside and takes the racing line under braking. Should be pretty plain sailing. Goes a bit deep and the McLaren trying to get the cut back, but it's going to be all in vain, and the Racing Point up into the top 4. Very nicely done from Harv, who's had to nurse home damage and really not been on his A game, and through no fault of his own he's been probably knocked off his A game by pretty much everyone else on the grid that he's come in contact with. But find himself comfortably into P4 and should pull away from Chalk in P5. So with 4 laps of this race remaining, Chalk is still on the back of Harv. Probably now going to start giving it more as Harv's tyres start to wear out, and combined with that wing damage, not going to be very nice to him. It looks as though Kimi on the back of Pressing Mixer now. This is really closed up, and Pressing Mixer going to want to hold on to that P2, but doesn't want to ruin his chance of a podium either. He's got 9 seconds back to Harv, doesn't want to lose that. But Kimi, thirsty, hungry for the P2 position and going to give it everything, but the dirty air really causing him to push on and have a wash of understeer. Manages to get a bit back and recomposed his Ferrari beast as we come on to the penultimate lap. Very deep into turn 23. Here comes the Ferrari to the inside. Should be a pretty plain sailing move for P2. Is Pressing Mixer going to go around the outside? He tries it, sticks his nose in, but the Ferrari claims the racing line and takes the track away from him. And fair play to him. Very good attack and then defense to hold on to the position once he's claimed it. Harv goes in a bit deep there, so Chalk going to put the pressure on, but Harv manages to hang on somehow. Chalk not being able to close the gap. He's going to have DRS, but probably doesn't want to get past until this back straight. Harv really now struggling with his wing damage. He's only got about 2.5 laps left to go of this race and just needs to hang on more than anything else. Four tenths is the gap. He's going to have DRS. He's going to have more ERS as well. He's had a straighter exit. This could be Choco's chance to get himself back on to the top 4. Won't be much, it'll be an extra 2 points. Looks to the inside, DRS now wide open and the closing speed is great. Bit of contact with Harv, bit of a bump draft. Harv looking to the inside, so the McLaren goes to the outside. There they go then, side by side with the Racing Point, and McLaren to the inside goes the Racing Point. Going to go around the outside. Is the McLaren going to be barged off the track though, as the Racing Point takes his rightful racing line and hangs on to P4, and there's Choco left in the dust. 7 tenths back, and that was probably his best chance. If he found space on the inside, he should have taken it. The outside never going to work for that hairpin unless you've got incredible overspeed, and just didn't have it on this occasion. On to the penultimate lap goes Max, really dominant up in front, 21 seconds clear, and Harv struggling with wing damage. Really struggling at this stage in the race now. His tyres are starting to go off. He can't use the sheer tyre grip to make up for it now. He's struggling and he's hanging on to P4 for dear life. Down the gears goes Choco. Isn't going to be close enough into the first chicane. We've got Mitch on the back of Chris as well on the penultimate lap. The Ferrari really closing on the Williams, using all of his ERS. A little bit sort of a look to the inside goes the Williams, so the Ferrari goes even deeper and around the outside. Very nicely done from Mitch. Pete for the win. Going to be kind of hard for Pete to go for the win, considering he DNF'd probably around about 20 laps or so ago. Here's Chalk on the back of Harv, not going to go for it on this occasion. Here's Chris with the counter-attack. And looking to the inside of the hairpin on the penultimate lap. The Ferrari and Williams once again battling it out. Only for P6 on this occasion. Mitch with a great cutback on his soft tyres. Bit sideways goes the William and has to very much avoid that Ferrari and try and keep them both out of the wall, let alone just himself. He had to keep both of them out of the wall there. Mitch very lucky to get unscathed through that one. And Choco on the back of Harv as we come onto the final lap, lap 28 of 28, and Max very much dominating out in front, already coming through sector 1, while Kimi is only through turn 1. He has incredible pace. Chalk on the back of Harv. He's going to have to look defensive. Chalk to the outside. It'll be the inside for turn 2. If he goes for it, he's going to send Harv a little bit in deep, who has been struggling with understeer for the last sort of 10 laps or so. But Choco struggling with the rear end grip. Cannot get the power down. It's not being nice to him now. Are his medium tyres. They're starting to fall off just that little bit too much. DRS wide open, but he's lost too much time. Needs to close it back up. Coming into the chicane. He is closing. Just needs to stay close enough down this back straight. Gives it a straight exit. Choco really wants this top 4 finish, but so does Harv. He's been limping home with wing damage since his contact. DRS wide open for the McLaren. This is the last lap. This is his last opportunity. Harv weaving around to break the toe. He's closing Harv to the inside. The McLaren doesn't know where to go. He's going to send it to the inside. Double front lockup. And Harv going to hang on to the position around the outside. Nicely done. Max is your race winner though for the Hanoi and the Vietnamese Grand Prix, ahead of Kimi, who will go make a cup of tea for while we wait to cross the line, because Max dominated the streets of Hanoi and finishes a whopping 23 seconds ahead of Kimi, who now rounds the penultimate couple of corners through the penultimate one and across the line. That is him in P2. A great drive from the back of the grid, and Presley Mixer still a remarkable way to end the race. And he's going to let Harv through to get on the podium, and he's going to distract Choco and spin him round. Choco round through the final corner. And he's going to lose the place to Mitch and has to move out the way. Is Chris going to get the move as well? No, Choco plummeting down the grid on the last lap. A mistake you'd never like to see. And Pressing Mixer giving up the podium to Harv and Mitch. Up into P5 with Choco P6. Very close stuff. And that was close to a last lap calamity. It was a good race. It definitely had its moments and did give us a nice spectacle to behold. Just lacked the fight for the race lead, unfortunately. But everywhere else, the midfield battles were amazing and really did not get treated well. Yeah, we won't talk about that, Kieran, because, yeah, that was the biggest bottle I've probably ever seen. But the Haas lifting the trophy, and very well deserved. But Max takes a dominant victory, 23 seconds ahead of Kimi, who started 15th and finished 2nd. Harv as well, starting 12th, finishing 3rd. Pressing Mixer off the podium just outside with the top 4 finish, and Mitch rounding off the top 5. Choco, after a last lap spin, finds himself P6 after fighting for the podium. Chris in P7, CDM P8, Jim Strap P9, Sebo P10, Wumax P11, Golden Wolf P12 and Ratho P13, with the DNFs of KVDPR, Broke Gorilla, High Assassin and Peter. If Kimi started on the front row of the grid, that would have been a great race for the front, because he had some incredible pace. Both of them did. It would have been a battle of two tyrants, really, as it always is between the Ferrari and the Haas. But it is looking like that is going to round up tonight's action, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed and enjoyed that as much as I did. It's been a pleasure as always to commentate over OBF1. It's been a great race, some great action up and down the field. not so much at the front, but a dominant victory from Max once again to extend his championship lead. And well, we'll see you next time, and actually I'll see you on Monday for the launch of the new Formula 2 League, and then on Wednesday where I join Pete alongside for their Tier 2, and then I'll be back next week for round 4 of Tier 1 next Friday. I'll catch you later, guys, and hope you have enjoyed. Goodbye.